Hi VC, this is my final installment of the 50 album challenge. I'm going to be sharing albums 41 through 50 and wrapping this challenge up. It's taken me a little longer than I thought it would. This last week it turned into 2 weeks, and but I did listen to the last 10 albums. First, before I show those 10 albums and kind of share a little about them, I wanted to give a big thank you to Value Vinyl, Steve over at Vinyl Value, and also Mrs. VV. They had watched one of my videos and had saw I made a comment about Pat Benatar, and I only had one album, and they had a duplicate album for her Get Nervous, and they went ahead and sent that to me. So I was very excited to receive this. This is a great album. It has Shadows of the Night, Looking for a Stranger, of course. Get Nervous is on here. Little Too Late. So there's a lot of hits on here. Really great. And I just want to say thank you again for your kindness and sending this to me. It has a good home here. So without any other further delay here, I'm just going to jump into my final 10. This last listening period, instead of having Discogs randomizingly picking my selections, I went ahead and went to the shelves and pulled off some albums. There were some albums that were inspired by the VC, maybe videos I saw, someone shared a particular artist or band that I had in my collection and I hadn't listened to it for a while. And then, of course, just some albums that I hadn't listened to for a while that looked like they would be a great spin. So the first one I want to show was inspired by Beth at B-Side Records. She had shown a find of a 12-inch single by Oingo Boingo that she had picked up. And I was like, wow, they are such a great group. I should give Dead Man's Party a spin. So it's been a while since I've listened to this album. First of all, the album art is just so cool. And Richard and Danny Elfman and the rest of the band, just an awesome group. So this particular album has Just Another Day, Dead Man's Party, and the theme song to Weird Science, and there's a variety of other songs on here. It's a good, solid 80s album, and this is circa 1985, and I just really enjoy giving this a spin. I really never see Oingo Boingo out in the wild, so when I saw the 12-inch single that Beth shared, I was like, wow, it just perked that curiosity in me, and I was like, I should seek out some more Oingo Boingo, but I did enjoy this spin. So Oingo Boingo, Dead Man's Party. The next album that I listened to was Genesis, Invisible Touch, and this album is circa 1986, and this album spurred quite a few singles. It's a more poppy version of Genesis. It has, of course, Throwing It All Away, that power ballad, and also Into Deep, Land of Confusion, Tonight, and Invisible Touch. So really quite a few hits off of this album. I really did enjoy it. I honestly don't have a lot of Genesis, but I did enjoy this spin. Also, this cover is very cool. So it looks really flat, kind of plain, but actually the hand on here is embossed, and texturally it's very, very cool. So that is Invisible Touch by Genesis. My next album is a debut album from 1987, and it has become a topic of heated discussion in our house. Not really heated because I'm not a confrontational person. But a little confession here. I, of course, love vinyl and shopping for vinyl and just all of the elements that go with it. My husband, he shares a love of music, but he just doesn't get the vinyl thing. He would prefer just listening to downloaded music or listening to random things on like Series or XM or whatever subscription service he's using. And so I've been trying to push him to the vinyl life. And so I bought just a simple Audio Techniques turntable for him to put down in the man cave. I told him, oh, it'd be pretty cool. You're playing pool. You guys can put on an album. And so, like, once a month, I've been buying him albums, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne, Leonard Skinner. So bands that he enjoys listening to. And actually, he's kind of enjoyed it. He went record shopping with me one afternoon, and so that was pretty cool. And so the other day, he was asking me, hey, can I get my Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction back? And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not your album. That's my album. And so then the discussion began that, actually this was his album. He remembers, when we got married, he brought that with him. And I'm thinking, no, dude, you did not. And then he asked me, did you buy this album? And I was like, no, I did not buy this album in 87 or 88. But I remember my younger brother buying the album, and when he joined the military, he gave me a few of his albums. He didn't have a lot, mostly on CD, and this was one of them. And my husband insists that no, this was his album. So then I had to ask myself a big question. Was this album so important that I had to keep up in this little lady listening lair? Or was I going to go ahead and give it up and just, you can go downstairs into the man cave? And so this week I gave Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction its last spin in the lady lair. And so many great hits on here. Welcome to the Jungle, It's Not Easy, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, a really great album. I know the album, I can still play it at any time. I can go downstairs. But just between you and I, this is my album. My husband did not bring this album into the marriage. I am the only one who brought vinyl records into the marriage. And so just between you and me, this is my album. But, I'm a generous person, so I'm going to let it go. Let it go down to the man cave. So, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. The fourth album I listened to, my husband does not lay claim to. He wants nothing to do with it, and I'm happy with that. That's okay. And that is Rick Springfield, Success Hasn't Spoiled Me Yet. And this was such a great nostalgic spin. This is my OG copy, per se, from 1982 that I played over and over again. And of course, I had Rick's poster on my wall. And Rock Chica, if you're watching, this one's for you. I know we both have so much respect for Rick Springfield and his work. And this is a great album. It has Calling All Girls, I Get Excited, Black is Black, Don't Talk to Strangers, Still Crazy for You, Just One Kiss. So this was a great, great listen. Rick Springfield's success hasn't spoiled me yet. And look at this dog. Man, he has got some swagger. So great record. My next album is also my OG copy from my tween years. And that is Hall & Oates, Voices. And this is a great album. Again, a little post-it note because there's some graffiti there that a young Cindy wrote on. So I'll have to figure out how to eventually maybe get that off. But great songs on here. Kiss on My List. You Make My Dreams Come True. They did a wonderful, fabulous cover of You Lost That Love and Feeling by Righteous Brothers on this album. I've actually been thinking about, after I've spun this, that maybe I'll upgrade this copy. I did notice that Mobile Fidelity had a reissue of this album, so I might upgrade. Not sure yet, but this was a great spin. I'm a big Hall & Oates fan. I don't think they get them a lot of respect, but they are an awesome duo. They put out some great music. So my sixth album is the 1987 self-titled album, Echo and the Bunnymen, and some great songs on here. The Game, Lips Like Sugar, Bedbugs and Baloo, Blue Blue Ocean. I really love that. So I am a fan of Echo and the Bunnymen. This is my only album by them. I really don't come across them in the wild. I think one or two of their albums has been reissued. I just haven't picked them up yet. But really great late 80s rock. I really like Echo and the Bunnymen, so this was a great spin. My next album is 1988's debut album by Living Colour, and that's Vivid. And again, this week, pretty much all the albums I listened to, or the last 2 weeks, I guess, because it turned into 2 weeks, have been exceptionally great for me. So I've really enjoyed them. This one has their big hit on it, Cult of Personality. But there's other great songs on here, Glamour Boys. I like I Want to Know, Open Letter to a Landlord. This is actually pretty much just full of great songs. There's none on here that I would skip through or anything. I would be bold in saying this is one of the best albums of the late 80s, early 90s. Just solid album. There's like funk elements, rock, soul, there's some rap and R&B in there. It just has a lot going on for it, and that's Living Colour, Vivid. So the next album was actually inspired by Miss Hannah at the Omaha Introvert, and she is a big Veruca Salt fan, and so I decided it's been a while. I'm going to go ahead and give my minty fresh copy of Veruca Salt's debut album, American Thighs, a spin. And again, an awesome album. Of course, it has I think it was a big hit, Seether. I don't know if it was or not, but in my mind, it was a big hit. And Superman 74, which is a great, or 79, sorry. Superman 79, I love that song. And 25, Victrola. Some really great songs on here. Veruca Salt. I think Hannah calls them jangle pop. I would kind of like, they got kind of a little bit of grunge, so I call it like kind of a grunge pop. And this was 94. Really great album, Veruca Salt. And of course, they have the coolest name, Veruca Salt. It's like, you know, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a character. So, really great name. Great album, too. My next album I had pulled and listened to, and then I saw there was a discussion in the VC between Melinda Murphy and Chris at Chris Has the Spins about the album The Cars. And this is their self-titled debut album from 1978. New wave rock classic. Pretty much every song on here. It's all killer, no filler. Though this is their debut album, it could be a greatest hits album. So many great songs on here. Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl, Just What I Needed, I'm in Touch with Your World, Don't You Stop, Moving in Stereo, You're All I've Got Tonight. Just so many great songs on here. Definitely an awesome album. I haven't listened to it in a while, but it is a great album. Great classic, great spin. Just really enjoyed it. So my last album of the 50 album challenge, but not least because it's one of my favorite bands. I just haven't listened to this album in a while. And that is the Pixies' Bossa Nova. And I'm just such a big fan of the Pixies. Of course, my favorite album is Doolittle, and I probably am not alone in that sentiment. But the follow-up album, I think this is their third studio LP, came out in 1990, and have some great hits on it. I just really love the sound, and there's of course some surf elements in there, which I really dig. I do prefer the Pixies when Kim Deal is playing on the albums. There's just something that she adds to the group dynamic that I prefer. And of course, one of the, I don't know if it was a hit, but one of my favorite songs on here is Valoria. And a quick story, not too long. But my husband and I, we raised our kids mostly in California, and one of the cities we lived near had a record store called Valoria Records. And every time I see the record store name, I and there's a little kind of a Saturn, or I don't know if it's like Saturn, but and I always think, I wonder if that has like a Pixie affiliation, if they named the store because of Valoria and on this album. And I had asked the owner, and she said, actually, the previous owner, of course, he had chosen the name Valoria, and when they had purchased the store, they went ahead and kept the name, and they just had no idea whether it was Pixie related or not. But every time I see this album cover, I think of that great little record store. So a shout out, if you're ever in California in the Central Valley, maybe you're visiting Yosemite National Park or Sequoia National Park, there is a great little store in Visalia, California called Valoria Records. And so check it out. Great owners in there, and you'll enjoy it. And so that's number 50. I just want to say that I really enjoyed this 50 album challenge. I know when Frank at 33 and a third had put out the challenge, that I saw quite a few videos with people saying, yeah, this is great, and they showed their 50 albums, and it was so cool to see. For me, I knew I couldn't just show 50 albums. I had to like do them 10 at a time and listen to them, or I wouldn't listen to the 50. So, though at times this challenge was a little challenging to find the time, I really enjoyed rediscovering my collection. And all in all, the albums that I listened to and spun, they're albums that I personally really enjoy listening to and loving. And so, though I don't consider myself a collector, I think that's part of the collection process is to choose albums that you can make a personal connection to and you enjoy. I have a diverse taste in music, so I'm not just the rock girl or the jazz girl or this or that. Um, though predominantly you can probably see what kind of music I like, but I think music is a beautiful thing and it kind of fits different moods and different seasons. And so an album that I might listen to in wintertime just doesn't have that same appeal in summertime. So I do thank Frank for his challenge, and I've really enjoyed this. Um, I hope that you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment if you feel so inclined. I love the interaction, love to talk to people about music. I am by far no music expert, um, but I really love music and enjoy talking about it. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you on the flip side.